Hello, Minion. Just setting up here, take a sip of my drink. Let's play. So, what are we doing today? I'm inking this sketch. I was at a Five Guys one day. I forgot the particular occasion, but I thought I'd treat myself and get some Five Guys burgers. And they had some of these blank index cards. So as always, when they do have them, I started sketching. In this particular occasion, started inking one of the lizard people in one of my series, my dark fantasy comic series, which I often say one will ever see the light of day. But who knows? Maybe we may see it sooner than expected, if at the very least, just art and lore and story. I don't know when the comic will come out, juggling all my other projects, though. Hello, Caramel. So this is your first time catching one of our YouTube lives. And you tell me about your announcement. Which one? Which announcement? I made a few. Do you want to see the sketch cards for the new batch of official sketch cards that are now filling up the roster of the Patreon cards? Oh, the previous live. That was me showing the pencils of that, because I had just finished the pencils right before I went live. That was me finishing the pencils of that drawing that I did post in the Patreon. Hello, Lyndon. Did I say your name right? London. Lyndon? I'm butchering it. I think it's Lyndon. I'm clocking Lyndon in for Lyndon for 300. But we just had so much people on the YouTube, and I was like, you know what? We were having such a good time on the YouTube. I was like, here's a little peek. Okay. Let's do 300. Yes, I got it right. As I'm a butcher of names. So I figure, let's just ink this guy up. I thought it would be pretty cool to ink him. And I was like, let's do it on a live. So I kind of just saved them on the side here. Although I do have a new project that I will be working on the lives. That's if the Dynamite stuff doesn't come in tomorrow, which it probably does. I got emailed my list of projects that I'll be working on. This time 10 books instead of 20, but I don't know if the other 20 will be coming at a later, the other 10 will be coming at a later date, or if it's just for now. But last time I got emailed the list of projects, I ended up getting those books at my house delivered like 2 days after the announcement. I mean, after the email that of the projects that I'll be working on. So, if the pattern is the same, then those will be arriving tomorrow. And that will take priority of whatever I'm working on. And I will be working on those on the lives as well. Some of you who have seen the last few lives have seen me working on those sketch covers with Dynamite Comics. If not, I'm posting a whole bunch of the projects, whether it's here on TikTok. Oh, we're not on TikTok. Oh, over on TikTok, here on YouTube, or on my Instagram. You'll see them, or even in our Discord. Okay, let's read the comments. Yes, I said hi, Caramel Girl. I knew it was you when I read your other comment. Hello, Demon. Demonic Glitch. Close. Did I miss the first part? Close? Close what? It feels so weird not watching you on TikTok lives. This is yeah, it's an adjustment. I think, this text is smaller. You can't reply to other people. I can't even comment. I don't think. I haven't seen a way for myself to write anything in the comments so I can't put the Discord link in there. But I've been wanting to play both angles, I like to say. You know, kind of growing up the YouTube side as well, not just TikTok, because I kind of hit my goal on TikTok, you know, which was 10K. And I'm not saying that I'm like settling or anything, you know what I mean? It's just TikTok has changed a little bit, and so that was more of a personal goal of mine for 10K. Although we know there's also benefits to being on 10K, but now with the change on TikTok, it seems I'm a little late for those benefits, which is fine because I'm not just some like content creator, some YouTuber, some TikToker. You know, I'm a comic book artist first. Everything else is subsequential. I feel like I tripped over that word a little bit, but you know, everything else is a means to an end to help me grow attention, take attention, and bring it on over. Is like, oh, you liked watching my videos, and then it's like, oh, he makes comic books. He's not just drawing on this, you know. So the more people, the more eyes and different areas, you know. I feel like we got a lot of good people from TikTok, and let's get some good people from YouTube as well. Okay, let's keep reading. Hello, Kaylee. Long time no speak. Hello, Stevie. Okay. Hello, cute V. This. Did I miss something? What do you mean this? Did I miss a comment before? Hello, Molly. I'm doing digital art, and people are telling me it's AI because it doesn't look like them, and I can't do them exactly as them. So, Stevie, that's one of the issues, sadly, with digital art. We've become we're in an age now where people can easily just assume that that's AI. So the best way to kind of prove that it's not AI is to have a bunch of screenshots of the process or show your layers. So if you have your photos of your layers or the process, you know, that's going to be your best receipt to prove to people that you actually did digitally, you know, paint it and not AI generated it. Okay. Hello, Sleep Disciple. My friend came over and I have fixed another computer. Tech support. When I've been cooking up a homebrew DC fill in because I get bored. I think, well, no, definitely last time yours were lanterns. What DC homebrew character are you doing this time? Like, what series? And yes, Sleep, what's your question? I personally don't care if they think that. Yeah, I guess you want to take pride in your own work. You know, it's good to not let the words of other people bother you. The thing is, once I start, I really focus on it so I don't stop and screenshot anything because I'm that focused. Yeah, I get that too. It's like an extra step. You could also record the process, like at certain points, remember to record it. Especially because everything is content and you can post that as a work in progress. I personally normally don't like to do work in progress, but that's just my own personal thing. I know a lot of people do work in progress, but as far as work in progress goes, my videos are a work in progress. You're watching me ink the thing. So that's my work in progress. But I don't like posting work in progress as photos, is what I meant to say. A classic Batman villain. Is it Joker? That's a classic. What do you do with the artwork you dislike? Artwork I dislike. I guess it would depend on why I dislike it. Because most of the time, I try to get to a point where I don't hate it. And so, if I dislike something, that's normally something that happens with time, where I look at it, at a later date, and I'm like, ooh, that looks pretty rough. And sometimes I'll just fix it. But sometimes I'll just be like, oh, time capsule, this is how I used to draw back then. And so I used to hate it. When I was a kid, I used to throw away all my old art. I used to just chuck it out. I used to throw it out. But when it became me drawing for my own comics, my own characters, in 2012, that's when I started making my own characters, my own comic series. I kept everything because I was like, yeah, this art doesn't look that great right now, but I need like receipts. I felt, like if anyone ever was like, oh, this looks like Helldivers, and then I say, I got this from all the way back in 2012, I've been at it for a minute, you know what I mean? So thank you, Jake, from like almost 10 years ago. Helped me out a little bit. So, don't throw it out. If it's your own character, don't throw it out. Keep it, because you can also show, your art development. Maybe if you ever write a book showing your development, like the art of, and then your name, you might want to put that in the first few chapters of your book. For me also too, I have a whole section on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page, and I will also add it to the Patreon page, which would be free of and old art, so people can see the evolution of the character. I didn't carve my way out of the womb drawing the way I do. I always say I left my mother's womb full of cave paintings, but if you look at those cave paintings, they're all like stick figures. I didn't come out of the womb drawing the way I do. It takes time and practice, and it's not something that you can merely chalk up to just talent. It's something that you have to work to improve. Talent will only get you so far. Talent is just where you start, but it's not about where you start, it's where you end. And so if you say, oh, I don't like this drawing, and that's where you end, well, that's how the drawing's going to stay. For me, a drawing that's not looking good, it's not finished. If I don't like the way it looks in the moment when I put my pen down, it means I didn't finish the drawing. So I keep working on it until I do like it. That's why I said, if I ever dislike a drawing, it's normally like I fell out of love with it a few days later, you know what I mean? So I would say don't throw it away if it's your own characters. Write the date on it and use it for carbon dating in the future. If anyone wants to say, oh, this looks like this character from this show, and you're like, no, I did my thing way before that existed. You could also give it away if if it's just like general art stuff that you don't like and you don't know where to do with it. Maybe you could give it away. Maybe someone will like it. But I think it's a good example for people to see that you developed, It wasn't like AI generation where you just pop something perfect out. And I say perfect in air quotes. I think the whole AI development of everything makes me even more sentimental to the imperfections of development. It's like a tadpole. If you were trying to draw a frog and you look at a tadpole, it doesn't even have 4 legs, you gave it a tail, it seems so off from your vision. You wanted to be a frog, but there's stages to it. The tadpole has to go through a metamorphosis. It needs to grow legs, it needs to grow arms, it needs to lose the tail, it needs to develop lungs and lose the gills. And so when I see a lot of artists bashing their artwork, it's like a tadpole being upset at itself for not being a frog. And I say, hold on, little buddy, you're gonna get there one day. You just need to keep working on the things that you care about, and not lose your joy and love for the craft. You got to also learn. It's not just all fun and games. You have to learn the skill of learning, and a skill is never really easy. You know, it may come easier for some people, but there will always be something that trips them up. You know, whether it's, okay, you can draw figures really good. Well, now draw an animal, and now that person might struggle. Or maybe they can do both. Well, now draw perspective. Maybe they'll struggle on that. Everyone will have something they struggle with when it comes to artwork. There's always an area, and in a way, you got to look at it like there will always be something for you to try and master and improve on, and you're not perfect. You never will be. So you'll just always have this endless pursuit, you know, this endless goal. And I think that's kind of a good thing. Humans need purpose. We need, you know, like an endless quest in that way. Okay, let's keep reading. AI tends to have a varying style. If they think that they can think. All my digital art is one style. That's one thing too. That's a good point that you have, Demonic. You know, you have consistency with your style and replicating that style. I think that also bodes well for you. You know, especially if like people just know the type of art you produce. Modern villain. I believe she would fit best in the Batman Beyond series. Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's not like a retouching of a character. It's like a full-on homebrewed character within the Batman universe. Mine's cartoon because it takes a lot more of my time. Yeah, I think a lot of art, just in general, even cartoons, could take a lot of your time. Make terrible art, so I end up burning it. No, don't burn it. Keep it. Keep it or give it away. Or draw digitally so you don't have to waste paper. I'm still working on her details, but I want her to be the epitome of a tech freak hacker. And in the world of Batman Beyond, that definitely would be interesting too. You know, how different could hacking and stuff like that be? Goodbye, Demonic. I'm sorry I didn't see your comment till now, so I hope I didn't keep you waiting. Or if you left without saying goodbye, without me saying goodbye, I would feel bad. Hello, Drow. And thank you. I only use AI to help bring out the details that's not visible enough. That's it. I would advise even doing that, because then at that point it's still AI assisted. And then even if you just used it for a little tiny thing, someone's going to be like, oh, you used AI. Me, I kind of also just really stay away from AI. I personally detest, if I could be, I was trying to find a nice word, the whole AI stuff. I would hire someone before I used AI to help me with anything. Because that's the other thing, you know, there's artists, and with like comics and stuff like that, it's like a team. And right now I can't afford to hire help, but there will be a time where I've accepted that I'm gonna have to hire help if I want all my books to really see the light of day. Did this pen just run out of ink on me? It was working better earlier. Found the OG drawing of Lone Star. You gotta put that in like a binder or something, Caramel Girl. Also, a little progress report. I finished a page of Nadir. I was working on that like a good part of the day. Once some of the house stuff kind of got situated, like, house chores and cleaning and all that. Once I got that out of the way, kind of was just sitting down and droning over that page because I knew I just had one panel I had to finish. So, don't quote me, but I think I only need to do one page before I drop the next batch of pages. Granted, I still have to put text and all that, scan the pages and everything, but I know for a fact I have a page that I still have to draw. Also, I work next Saturday, so I definitely won't be able to go live Friday night, sadly. Yesterday, I was so tired I couldn't go live. I gave my Batman villain homebrew character 3 robot minions who do different things. What 3 things do they do, like their specialties? Let's zoom in a little as I work on those teeth. I kind of decided to change the teeth. I wanted to make them a little smaller than what I had there. Let me use a softer eraser. All of them are about the size of a dodgeball and are based on animals. Are they round? Oh, you just said they're based on animals. Oh, but like Soundwave? That's what that made me think of. Pow Pow is a purple cat bot. He's like a little infiltrator. He protects, he attacks, and he will make you into a snack. Is that just figure of speech? Or does he eat a robot that eats? Hello, Vol. Vol Moon Artist. Or is it Val? I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Next is Biscuit. Biscuit is round, light blue, round dog who's in charge of the cleanup of the scene. Basically, a mini butler. I like that you made it a butler after being like a crime scene tamper, evidence tamper. Around pink Batbot, Echo, another fitting name. Flying acts as a surveillance messenger and weather Doppler. What's a weather Doppler? Okay, moon. What is that fire? I'm guessing that means you like it, huh? You're saying this lizard is fire? Do you guys want to first look at some of the sketch cards, the official sketch cards for my medieval series that I'm adding to the roster for the Discord? Not the Discord, the Patreon. So the Patreon has a $10 tier that I do sketch cards for those guys. There's a $15 tier where I color them, but I've updated the roster and added some characters from my medieval series. As of prior, it was from Dead Liberty and Nadir, two of my other series. Both of those being sci-fi war stories. Dead Liberty being also with some superhero stuff. So to shake it up from sci-fi guys with guns, I went with adding my medieval stuff. And the fun thing with that is there is some very unique silhouettes between them then. Instead of, do you want guy with gun 1 out of 50? Or do you want guy with armor out of 1 out of 59? You know what I mean? So I think it was a fresh take. Not take, addition. Okay. Minion wants to see it. The 8s. Hello, Jeremy. That 8 seconds? Weather Doppler helps predict weather changes. Oh, okay. So just always informed. Now the fun thing when I complete some of these, I get to use some of my sleeves here. I got these sleeves from GameStop. But that's the Liberator. These guys, Angel Wings. So here are some from Dead Liberty. For anyone who's just joining, I have a comic series called Dead Liberty. That is on Amazon. I have a couple of issues out. That's Bloodhunt. He's also in the Dead Liberty universe, which I call the Universal Timeline. And that is also a book on Amazon. That's a companion series to Dead Liberty. Here are some other characters from Dead Liberty. Some of the baddies. And I also have a free-to-read series called Nadir Archives. Here are some of the soldiers from that. Nadir Archives is free to read. You can read it on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page or on my TikTok. I have a playlist called Nadir Archives. And it's an anthology series, so each one follows like different characters and stuff. It all contributes to the same universe that I call the Cosmic Timeline. So a different universe than Dead Liberty. Dead Liberty being the Universal Timeline, you don't have to buy the Dead Liberty books to understand what's happening in the free-to-read series. So, now let's see our third universe in here, the Primordial series. Spoiler alert for Minion, since Minion is one of our patrons. So shout out to Minion. Thank you for being such a loyal sub. All these past, I think next month is the 1 year anniversary. So I already have one of those set up for you, which is this one. This is the age-old Undead Knight. And then here are some of the other ones I added. Here is a Mountain Goblin. And here is a Giant. And here is a Cyclops. So I will be adding more. I'll definitely add some not dead knights. So I'll do a knight. What else will I do? I'll do a knight. I'll do another goblin, a regular goblin. The regular goblins will still kind of look my style, like the way I draw them. As many of you know, I'm not really I was never really a big fantasy person, so me going into fantasy and writing a fantasy story, my things are not going to be like exactly the same. It's not going to be a D&D campaign turned into a comic. I do have a particular way of doing things, monstrous stuff and things like that. But yeah, I think that might be a fresh take on some fantasy stuff or dark fantasy in that way. The Cyclops is pretty adorable. Especially when you find out, a little secret here, he does actually have a jaw. Look at that, the weakest jawline ever. So I need to do another drawing with its mouth open, but that's his little weak ass jaw. These sleeves are different. These sleeves, I just bought some sleeves. They should be coming in on Monday. I just bought some sleeves that I will be now also giving out to the patrons, because I'm just putting back into the. It's a business. it is. It's cards, money, buy cards, get product. You know what I mean? So I'm putting it back into the business. And, also just, I think, one, it'll be cool. And two, I think it might offer an extra sense of protection when I mail out the cards. But with the sleeves that I got for the patrons, I have bought clear sleeves because one of the most important factors to the drawings of the official sketch cards is the back of the card, which tells you a little bit of information, but more importantly, it acts as a certificate of, you know, that official artwork, or it will say official second year sketch card, because it is my second year on Patreon. The only person who has a stockpile of first year cards is Minion, and our other patron, shout out to Millennial Puzzle, has got one. He also got two, actually, because he got a lucky pull. But anyways, what was I saying? So with that, you know, the backs and stuff like that, kind of dating them and adding value to them, you know, who knows? You can, for our patrons, you can also get another card of the same if you want to, like, sell one of the cards in the future. And you know, maybe you want to keep your first year card, or you're like, nah, I'm gonna put my kids in college when he gets big. No, I'm kidding. But, you know, if you ever want to sell the first year card and you don't care when it was made, you just want the artwork, you know, you could you can also get the same card again. All right. It's one of those hot nights in Cali. I'm dying over here. We just had a blizzard in New York, but it's starting to warm up. The snow is melting. I feel like the sleeves should cost extra. I thought about it, but I was like, I don't want to change the prices or anything. I also thought about, like, when it comes to the Patreon and commissions and stuff like that, typically I'll sell commissions for like 10 bucks, right? And then the patrons for the sketch cards, I have that at $10 too. So it doesn't cost you guys more, but I do not get $10 from that. Where if I was doing commission, I would get the full $10 from that. But I understand it's part of the Patreon, and that's how business works. But whatever you lose in that, you know, I think for my purposes, I'm allowing it. You know, I see it as a acceptable kind of. I think I made like 8 from that. Goodbye, Caramel Girl. Thank you for dropping by, and good luck with your new characters. But yeah, I can't wait for those sleeves. Which is funny because as soon as I get those sleeves, I'll ship out the cards to my patrons. So I'm like excited for something that I'm not even gonna get to keep. I don't know why I'm so excited. I can't wait to put them in the sleeves, and I would show it to you guys, but I would give them away to the people who bought them. So yeah, my sleeves are a little different from your sleeves. Mine, you don't need to see the back of my cards because I need to keep them blank because I lightbox them. I will also be posting a picture of the process of that on Patreon. I didn't post it before, mainly because I was gonna post it yesterday, but I was like, would it be spoilers for Minion to see what card? But I think this is a little more ceremonious for you to see, Minion, what card you're getting, than just a post, you know what I mean? So I hope you're not like, damn it, I wanted to see when I opened the envelope. That's like a Pokemon card collector opening their pack of cards. But my bad if that's the case. Also, I hope you like it, because I didn't give you a choice. Granted, I didn't have the other ones done when I did that. So I drew these yesterday. So these did not exist prior to yesterday. Okay. Fine with it. Fine about it. Alright, so let's put my cards away. So I got my own little stack here. Now we got 3 timelines. Alright, cool. And then I'll put them in my little GameStop thing. I wonder how many I did. How many cards in total. This came with 100. I have some space here. So I'm so upset. Let me show you my pain. I was so excited. I bought this so I can start putting people's sleeves for the patrons, some sleeves for them to put their cards. I must have bought like, each one is like 60, and I bought like 5 of them, right? They don't fit. They don't fit any of my cards, not even the little ones, so they kind of stick out the top. They're the exact same card size as the cards, so they don't fit in the damn thing. So damn. So now I got all these cards that I don't sleeves I don't know what to do with. So I figure if I ever send out the little official sketch cards, I'll just use it as an extra layer of protection when I send those out. But here's the bullshit. I already sent out like all the sketch cards, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the certificate cards, the Blood Hunt ones, some of the Dead Liberty ones. So yeah, so that was unfortunate. But maybe for when I give out the ones for the 100, the first 100 certificate cards. Funky sad how I keep the chat live. Everyone else is lurking, and I feel horrible when I play games during the live, and I wait for all these days to go live and ask questions just for me to play a game. No, that's fine. Hopefully I can go live tomorrow. I think I can. But you know, I don't want anyone to also feel like I'm holding their schedule hostage of, you know, when I go live or anything like that. You know, it was always if you catch me. That's how I always imagined going live. I never imagined that people would be tuning in all the time. So I try not to, well, I don't try. I definitely don't, you know, make it something in my head. It's not an expectation I have. So, you know, I don't get upset and I'm like, oh, my people are not in my lives, you know. Also, I understand people have like actual lives to live. Nah, man, we hear. But Kaylee's funny. Kaylee likes the silence, which I don't know why. He's just like, I like to hear you breathe into that mic, boy. Get back to work. Because I got the phone like inches from my face, so I get. Oh, that's the only thing. I get a little self-conscious when it's too quiet for a while, because I'm like, they could probably hear me breathing all up on this mic, because it's literally. Let me grab my ruler here. My face is like 6 inches from the camera. Kaylee out here like, yeah, take in that oxygen, blow out that CO2. Okay. Oh, Moon's still here. Too lazy to comment. No, last time the YouTube live was really good to me. One, we had some really interesting conversations. Someone just came on and was like, so, what sets you apart from other comic book artists? I was like, I like this. This feels like an interview. Well, you see, sir, the reason why you should subscribe to me is because I actually bring a lot to the artistic table that hasn't been done before. I like to think of myself as something of a trailblazer. You know, that's what I'm equipped for. But oftentimes, you know, it's like, what'd you eat today? I'm like, I ate a burger. Not that anyone cares, but I did not eat a burger today. But I will be eating some spicy soup. One of those spicy cup noodle bowls. I should save that for a day that I might eat that today. I might eat it. So we're definitely going to add lizard people to that list of those sketch cards I was showing earlier. I'm also trying to post on the Patreon a bit more. I I really want people to be on the Patreon, even if it's like the free stuff, especially, to see those posts. Mainly when it comes to the art stuff, those the art posts and stuff like that. Because I think I kind of really like how structured it is. The only thing I can't stand about Patreon is that sometimes I'll post a drawing and it doesn't let me post it directly into an album. So I have to go to the album and then press add post, and then I have to do that. And I feel like Patreon's just like really slow when I be doing that. I don't know why. It just takes my phone a while to go from one side to the next. But I think I really like the structure because, like, you could check on those things, whether it's one of my drawings or one of my other things. Uh, like and then I can put like lore, and I feel like, I know someone that's probably like, for that just get a website. And to that I say, shut up. No, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, a website would be a bit beyond me. There's no way I could really do that at this time anyway. Okay, let's see the comments. Hello, the real Spider-Man webs. Oh yeah. I think the last live I was on YouTube, I did the lizard from Spider-Man. Was it the last one? And I colored it with like Copic markers. Not Copic markers, alcohol markers. Do you draw when you were like 10? I left my mother's womb full of cave paintings. I was always drawing. I carved my way out of her stomach with like 2 pencils. I was just like... I was like, yeah, I don't need your help, Doc. I got my way out. I was always drawing. I think I was drawing, actually, before I learned how to breathe, because if I was swimming in, like, the placenta and all that, I was, I didn't need my oxygen, so I was drawing before I can breathe. Yeah, that sounds right, actually. How often are you live? I haven't been checking much. I typically have been doing lives on TikTok. The last 2 lives I did on TikTok, I got like 0 followers, and I was like, all right, it happens, I guess. I was coloring, and then I got the next time TikTok was like, yeah, you got more followers this time, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I do. And I got 1 follower. I was like, are you fucking are you kidding me? And then I went on YouTube just to shake it up, because I'm playing both ends, and I got like 74 subscribers. I was like, I see you, YouTube. Someone wants my attention over here. But what was it? Yeah, when it comes to TikTok and stuff like that, I guess I got really rattled by the whole TikTok getting banned kind of thing, because it's like, as a business, if TikTok goes down, I'm back to square one. My second biggest thing is YouTube here with like 2,000 subscribers. That's like starting from scratch at that point. And as a business, you really don't want to just have everything be so dependent on just one platform like that. I think the core of my following should be, he makes comics, and not, oh, he's a TikToker or he's a YouTuber or whatever. And I got like 10,000 on TikTok and not 10,000 on YouTube. So these people are not transferring beyond subscription. I mean, following across platform. So I'm not driving traffic, if I can get business terms with you. I was born talented, but this is not talent. If you want to see talent, I would actually have to show you my drawings from like 10 years old. Or I think my talent kind of dropped off at 2012-ish, 2013. And then after that, it started to become more skill-based as I was educating myself on the craft of art, different materials, different techniques, and the rest is all skill. And talent will only get you so far. Talent will not get you hired for a position, and talent will not get you drawing like that, most likely. Because think of it like a broken bone. If you break your bone, it will heal, but you need a cast to guide it so it doesn't heal all crooked. So there's that. I think if you see some of my old art, it's just very wobbly. The lines are very wobbly. Um, but also, when it comes to things like inking, inking is a whole different profession. You can get a job just as an inker, and then another job as a penciler. That's a whole nother, profession right there. Same with like painting and stuff, especially digital art. Digital art, I didn't have talent at all. I had the opposite of talent. I had bad luck. Whenever I'd sit down, my computer would stop working, or something would happen, and I hated digital art for the longest time. And I always say, you know, if I ever saw my art teacher, my digital art teacher, if I ever saw her again, I'd apologize. Uh, and I do get to see her. Every time I see her, I apologize. I get to work in my old high school. I was just there yesterday. I was helping out with a character development workshop internship for the students. Um, so I'm the head advisor on that. I don't get paid for it, but I think it's just really good. And I just I like to help, and I love my old high school, and um, these students, I see myself in them, and I don't mean to sound like, oh wow, he's so inspirational. I literally see myself in them because sometimes the last two workshops, this is my third time doing it. I would be there, and I would have a student showing me their sketchbook. And I remember how I would stay behind my classes, being late to the next one, showing my English teacher my writing and my art teacher my drawings. And I would see out the corner of my eye another student kind of just waiting in the background, like waiting for me to be done with this student to show me their sketchbook. Sometimes I have a little line, and I'm like, wow, these kids actually really care about art. And here's the funny thing, too, they all draw better than I did in high school. So I'm like, these kids are going to go far. Um, Granted, I didn't really have the internet. I wasn't in high school. I was just drawing. I had just trusted the face. I'm like, oh, I'll get better one day. But these kids, they're going the extra mile. They're learning while they're young, and I think that's so smart. Okay, let's keep reading. But yeah, to answer the real Spider-Man Web's question, I've been jumping between TikTok and YouTube for my lives. At this point, let's see how sweet I'm treated on YouTube here. Like, if I get another, like, I'm not expecting another 74 subscribers, but if I get another, like, handful of subscribers, I think YouTube will win the bet. Because last time I was putting it up to vote, I'm like, do you want TikTok? Do you want YouTube? But wherever I'm being treated nice, I might stay a little. But yeah, lately I've only been able to go live on the weekends because I work. So hopefully I could go live tomorrow, though. I wanted to go live so bad yesterday, but I was so tired. I woke up at like 6-ish, went to work at 8. After that, I stayed late to help with the workshop. So that ended at like 5:30. And then I walked my silly ass home. My eyes were just sizzling, just burning. I did play a little bit of Heretic, though. That was fun. I had a blast playing that game. He will be eating it. What, art? Eat, sleep, breathe, and crap art. Oh yeah. My art dropped in 2020 and didn't really start getting better till last year. So I call that, plateauing. It's when, you kind of get a little stagnant for a while. But the best way to break out of that is to learn a new skill or new technique or new material that kind of now, when you learn something, you get a spike. Now, this is why I say it's not just enough to just practice. You need to learn, and then you need to practice what you learn and apply it. But I'm happy to hear that you're improving and you're seeing improvement. You can do digital art in your tablet or phone. I have a Wacom tablet that I do digital art, and most of the time I just use it for like coloring my stuff, or a few times I'll remaster my work. So when I remastered Dead Liberty issue 0 and issue 1 and put together the Blood Hunt rebuild, I remastered a lot of the artwork digitally. So basically I redrew some of the stuff that I felt didn't age well, which was the faces. I felt like my faces were hideous, from like, 2016, 2017, 2018. Disgusting. Okay, let me take a sip of my drink. Scrumptious, yes. Delicious. You ever see some delicious artwork? I want to get an iPad so bad to do like art, and I see everyone say like they use Procreate and stuff. I want an iPad so I can do like some coloring, like quick sketches, where I don't have to like put it into my scanner and then put it into Clip Studio or Photoshop and save a file, get my hard drive. I kind of want an iPad for like the quick sketches. Although now I recently started using alcohol markers, that changed everything. Now if I want, I'll just scan this thing, make a copy of it, and then color the copy. And then I have two pieces of original artwork. The original inks and the original colors. Is art your only main job you earn cash? No. So most recently I started getting some work with Dynamite Comics with the sketch covers, and the next batch will probably arrive tomorrow, and sketch covers and sketch cards. So I'm also doing, here's a early look at some sketch cards that I'm doing with Dynamite Comics, and they will be colored. I just didn't color these because I'm going to lightbox these, so I made sure to color the copy, and I call these the masters, because then I put a blank card, which is not going to be fully blank because it's going to have all the text on the back that it's going to be hard to see through, and then I'll try to trace most of the form and then freehand the rest of it, and then I have to color it. But that's with the IP holders of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, so I'll be working on those. Right now I'm waiting to hear back from Dynamite, who's waiting to hear back from the IP holders to approve of those samples I just showed you. But yeah, those, as cool as it is, it doesn't pay enough that like, I can solely do that, sadly. So on the topic of money, you do need to get, at least as a starting off artist, realistically, you need another job. You can't just say, oh, my stuff's good, and I'll just make money off of it. Now, your stuff may be that good, but it's not a matter that you're not good enough. It's a matter that not enough people know you exist. And until then, you need to have another job to kind of give you some money. Now, I know your parents probably heard you. Your parents probably told you this, but it sounds tastier when I say it. Because then you go and you say that to your parents. They'll be like, that's what I've been saying. But anyways, my remedy then, what's my advice? So I say, if you're looking for another job, because you need to pay the bills, you need to eat, I say try to get a job that does one of these three things. Get a job that's in your field. In my case, I'm doing like art teaching and stuff, and so I get to always be talking about art and drawing and stuff like that, and everything's still related to my interest to a degree. And school's all I've known. I know some people, they say school's not for them, they don't want to be teaching. Dealing with students is a whole nother animal, and I don't think everyone's mentally equipped to work in that profession. But also, I say the second thing, get a job that you don't mind doing. For me, school's all I've known. When I was in high school, freshman year, I was thinking, oh, I'll be an English teacher. At that time, I was operating solely on talent, and, my work was far from professional. I didn't even consider that I could be an art teacher, because I figured there was going to be so much I just didn't know how to do or couldn't teach. So my first thought was not even art teacher, it was English teacher, because, I like to write stories and stuff. When I started seeing my art improve, that's when I was like, wait, I like stories, and I like drawing. Why don't I make comic books? And I never looked back since then. I was always making my own series, my own comic, my characters. Anyways, the third thing is get a job that can accommodate your art. So for me, teaching kind of scratches all of this. Something I didn't mind doing. It was something in my field, and it was also something that can accommodate my drawing because teachers get summers off, they get all these holidays off, and so I'm like, I could work on my comics and stuff like that on that time. And it beats retail. Retail sucks. I've worked retail. I did not. I think it was a few days of working retail. I was like, nah, no. I'm gonna get another job. I'm gonna finish college. And not that I didn't finish. I had an associate's degree, but I couldn't do jack shit with an associate's degree. I was like, ain't that some shit? So I was like, let me get my bachelor's and master's and all that, thermometer degrees and all that. So that's where I'm at. Currently I've been doing subbing work. I've also taken on like odd jobs, quote unquote odd jobs. Next week I'm working Saturday. Someone probably like, whoa, you do Saturday school? No. I'm proctoring for the SAT, and I have been proctoring for SATs for a little bit. That's yeah. That's another thing that I do. I want to get into digital art. Have you ever got to use digital art at all? The real Spider-Man webs? For me, I was terrible. Eventually, I got better at it because I was like, I went for that as my major in college. I was originally going to do studio art, but my friend was like, you suck at digital art. If you don't teach yourself in school, I know you're not going to teach yourself, like, outside of school. And I was like, shit, he's right. Everything is, like, digital these days. And so I went for digital art. So while all my classmates were like, oh, I'm a digital artist because it's my passion, I was like, I'm a digital major because I suck at it. I hate it. I need to get better. I'm here to learn. Schooling in its purest form. And I'm happy to say I'm finally, like, gotten to a point where my digital stuff's not too bad. Especially, like, my coloring has improved so much. It was so bad before. Is this guy done? I think we're done with him. Or Lizard Man. Now, lizard people in this comic come in a lot of different shapes and forms. I don't really have a set limit to how many I can design, which I'm happy. Because sometimes I make set limits for myself for restraint. And then I'm like trying not to design too many of something. But that's not the case for the lizard people. I allow myself to have a wide range. I still have about 3 years before I can truly see what I can do with my art skill. But art teaching others art sound pretty cool. Yes. Yeah, definitely start thinking about that, because, you still need money. Now, the thing about, like, working retail and these other jobs, not only do they only pay minimum wage, but you're on your feet the whole time. You're on your feet the whole time getting disrespected all day. And luckily for me, I didn't get disrespected too much. I felt insulted by the idiocy, though, that I experienced. Working retail put me in a position where I just saw consumerism at its worst. And, it felt like watching sheep, graze on this, on deals and clothing. And they would get mad and angry and over clothes, just objects. And that, I was like, and no, all the anger is misdirected on you because it's like, dude, do I look like John Modell? Like, do I own the business? I said it's not in the back. It's not there. I promise you it's not. But anyways, for me, it left a very sour taste in my mouth. But I grew deep friendships with my friends, my coworkers, trial through, camaraderie through sacrifice and through that. But where I'm going on a tangent here. Where I bring the struggles of this type of work up is because you're on your feet the whole time. So then you're tired. When you get home, you're too tired to draw. That is the problem. That's not the goal here. You need a job that can accommodate you to be able to draw. I've seen it happen. I've seen many artists be like, I'm too tired to draw. And I was like, how could you be too tired to draw? Isn't this the thing you love to do the most? And then I started working retail and I'm like, I get it. You just go home, crash, and then you wake up and you have to go back to work. And you're like, no, I have to do that shit again. It's the worst thing ever. So get a job you don't mind doing. Get a job that, accommodates your art, and get a job that's in your field. Pick one of those three. Just picking one of those three will help you out tremendously, being an artist and trying to make money. If you could get something that hits all three of those, like being an art teacher, what being an art teacher is for me, then, I think you kind of got lucky on that side. So I'd be asking my little brother, like, yo, you got school tomorrow? Because if he gets school canceled, I'm like, that means I got work canceled. I get to stay home too. When they had that snow day, I got a snow day too. I haven't got used to digital art yet, but I know people and friends with people who are good at digital. So you can definitely get tips from them as well. I recommend, what really helped me get better is having a little memo pad where I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff. Because a lot of it is remembering keys and stuff. And so that writing things down in a little memo pad was like a little Pokédex for myself. And I'm like, oh, I encountered an issue. Let me check my Pokédex. And it's like, unselectable layer. You need to click another layer. Make sure you're not on the select object. Object deselect. And I'm like, okay. And eventually, through trial by fire, I eventually started to get the hang of it. I'm probably going to start working as a grocery store worker, and when I can, I'll probably work trades. I hear trades are really good too. I was going to give this guy a sword, but I kind of already drew him. Should we give him a sword? No sword. He has claws. He'll just rip your jugular out with his bare hands. I think that actually sounds cool. I'm not just bullshitting. I think. Thank you, the Hecker. I'm glad you like it. I typically do more like sci-fi, war stuff, guns and pouches and stuff. So whenever I do anything that's kind of like dark fantasy or medieval or stuff like that, I get a little like self-conscious, and I'm like, I hope people like it, because then if they don't like it, my default is to go, oh, that's not typically what I do. You got to see my war stuff before you knock it. You know what I mean? But people have really liked the medieval stuff. Oh, weapon on the back. That's not bad. That's a good suggestion. Let's. Maybe he's got like some kind of axe or something. Kind of. Just grab a ruler real quick. Get a straight edge. Oops. Now, maybe we could bring it out here. I'll read the chat in a second. I'm just adding in that little axe. What was I talking about? Oh, my medieval stuff. I really need to shake that. I need to break out of this insecurity of drawing like the medieval stuff, because like if I had a chef that was bringing me food and they were like, I typically don't make this, if you don't like it, I don't think that's too reassuring. So I promise I'm writing a bomb-ass story with that medieval series, and yeah, I'm gonna start standing my ground from now on. Okay, let's keep reading the comments. Sword, probably. I have drawn a whole bunch of lizard people, so they would be using all kinds of weapons. I didn't go sword this time because we wouldn't be able to even see the sword if I put it on his back. At the angle it's at, it would be covered by his arm. So with the axe, I could kind of have it jutting out a little bit. But I have drawn lizard people with swords. Me personally, if it's any consolation, I do like swords as a weapon better than axes. Swords are one of my favorite weapons. I wonder if Star Wars with the lightsabers contributed to that in my core fundamental like development, or maybe ninjas, my formative years. I do sell stickers in school, but I quit because I'm the only one working on it. It started to get pressured because of all the orders and lack of stuff, and lack of sleep and all that. Uh, that's cool that you got to do that, Moon. I think, as far as the orders and stuff like that, I think that's good that you had people. That many orders. At that point, there's two things you can do. One, you can try to build rapport with your customers and be like, it's coming. uh, were you just like doing commission stickers? Like you were drawing something and then turning it into a sticker? Because if you had a list of drawings already done and stickers they could pick from, that would be a little easier, which is probably what you were doing. And then, just build rapport with them, be like, these people ordered first, then this, I'm going to get to these guys. Or the other thing you could do is you could probably hire help at that point. But it would depend on how much money you're making and all that. It gets businessy. You drew it and turned it into stickers. Okay, so you were making commission stickers. Wow, that's a lot of work. Uh, I recommend making a list of characters already, and then selling those as stickers. So I guess definitely see how you got burnt out. Or you could just sell commissions, because then you don't have to make the whole sticker thing. And some people might just prefer commission because they get to own the original thing. For me, commissions, I started drawing things like this on like index cards that are like unlined. Some of them I did do lined, but and I would do them on these, and I would sell them for like $10. I've since upgraded my little shop, and so if I was to do a commission now, I'm not drawing on an index card. I'll be working on cardstock paper. So if I could go back in time and tell myself, I would have started using cardstock. Now they do sell cardstock at this size of index card and the bigger index cards, but they also sell cardstock at standard trading card size, which trading cards are cardstock mostly, and so it feels more professional to sell on cardstock. So maybe get some cardstock, sell them, and only do as much work that you're not over you're not killing yourself over the pressure. Okay, let's keep reading the comments. Tell me us it harder to do the background or something. What do you mean, the hacker? What are you asking? Something about the background? Backgrounds are kind of a pain at times. I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most with my medieval series, is I can be a little more in tune with nature. I really want to implement nature more into it, which is a far cry from my Nadir series, which is like so futuristic, where they're on Mars in certain comics. There's like Mars has been terraformed, and they just have biodomes of just cities. So I love drawing trees and stuff, and so having a more nature feel, and cathedrals and stuff like that will be fun to draw, castles and stuff. I've studied for a couple of semesters medieval architecture and Gothic architecture, so I kind of know the foundations of how to design a cathedral. Putting in the portals, the rose-tinted windows, the flying buttresses, the gargoyles, the grotesques, and all that. So I think it's gonna look cool. I'm pretty good at perspective, and but not having to draw windows and streetlights and cars all the time, I think will also save me a lot of time when it comes to the medieval series. Now I'll just have to draw a horse and buggy. Give him 2 axes on his back. That's actually really cool, because I have drawn a lizard guy with 2 axes. I'll show it. You know what? I'll show it. The real Spider-Man webs. Are you still here? Now he looks like a Ninja Turtle. Okay, let me just get this axe in here. I hope he gets to see that I took his suggestion and put 2 of them. Especially because these are kind of smaller. Alright, pretty cool. I'll show that in a second. Let's read the comments first, and then I'll show that. Make his stripes pink and his skin blue. Street Sharks for reference. That's cool. Now, my lizard people in the comic come in different colors as well. The comic is black and white. Well, I'm saying it like the comics in production. My comics are black and white for now, but I definitely would want to have colored editions. And the lizard people do come in different colors. I like that. Blue and pink. I was originally going to do green and red, but of course I can have different variants, of this guy. Or this type of lizard. Friends kind of help me, but they mess up and I have to redo all of it, but they try. I know that feeling. That's my biggest fear one of my main fears of hiring help is people messing up. Let me show the lizard person in my proof of concept. Now, I'm not going to draw every scale on this one, but in the actual comic, I might not be able to resist. But here is some of the lizard people. So this is a proof of concept. Again, I was saying how medieval stuff, like fantasy stuff, was not typically what I drew. Normally drew like sci-fi war stuff. So I did these proof of concepts to see how my viewers on TikTok and anywhere else would feel. And they're like, nah, stick to the war stuff, stick to the superheroes, stick to the military sci-fi stuff. But that was not the case. I was testing to see if they would say something like that. But everyone just overwhelming interest in my medieval series. And I put a lot of thought into everything I do. So here is their shrine. Now, in my medieval series, if I could talk a little bit about it, dragons are not around. Is that a dragon? No. Dragons are extinct in this series. The lizard people are kind of descendants of dragons. And boy, they won't let you forget it. All their architecture and symbolism, from like dragons and statues and stuff like that. And eggs, you'll see a lot of, because I think about, their lives and what would be meaningful to them as a lizard person. To them, an egg is probably like this symbol of fertility, So I implement, like, what if this thing was alive? So yeah, that's one of the things. I try to think outside the box. I try to really pull from things that make sense. Here he has a mace attachment on his tail. They kind of drag their tails, but like he can just like whip around and whack you with that. And if you put a mace end on it, that's an extra, making the most out of their innovating on their properties. Now, for anyone wondering, I'm sure everyone's already kind of good. They're like, this is a wyvern. So I said that dragons are extinct. Wyverns are kind of more bestial kind of descendants as well of dragons. So here we can see different types. This one's a little more iguana-esque. And then we got another one back there. So I did have 2 axes. So I wish the Spider-Man could have seen that. In addition to also me adding it to that one. But let's read the comments. As you can see, I also drew every scale on this guy here. Oh, he did get to see it. The real Spider-Man's here. Okay. They helped me with the materials. Okay, read that. I think. No, did I? I didn't. Did I? Let me read it again. Okay, I didn't read this. the wrong way. They put the stick part onto the drawing. The clear part on the back. Oh, that's unfortunate. They put it upside down. All right. So I think it's getting a little late. Let's finish inking these axes, and we can start to wrap up. So I hope you guys like that with the medieval stuff. I guess I'll talk a little bit about it before I start to end here. As for my medieval series, you might often hear me say medieval series and not fantasy, even though it is fantasy. I take more inspiration from like medieval stuff, medieval art and things like that than fantasy itself, which I feel fantasy has largely become a lot of, how do I say this respectfully? It's become more so subgenres of Tolkien and D&D stuff. So everything kind of feels Tolkien-esque. And in Tolkien's own work, it took me a while, and I was kind of late to the game when it came to Lord of the Rings. And so I ended up liking Lord of the Rings. I didn't like it growing up. That was interesting, but it was never really my thing. And I didn't like the idea of like goblins and orcs and elves and dwarves and all that. I grew to like some of the stuff, and I always respected Tolkien's creatures and stuff because he basically invented it all. And so it kind of also hurt my vision in a different way when it came to kind of like fantasy stuff, because now when I see a lot of fantasy stuff, I kind of just imagine, like, would these creatures even exist if Tolkien didn't invent them? Like, elves existed, but elves were never, like, these tall, beings that live forever. The elves in Tolkien's work represented angels, and the orcs represented demons. And so it had, like, a meaning to it, and it was more religious allegory in that sense, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And the more I respected it, the more I started to like it in his work specifically, because it's like something completely new and exclusive to his work. Not so much exclusive anymore. But I ended up throwing in some goblins and orcs into my own story, and they're kind of a dying race. I originally mainly just threw them in as a consideration to knowing that people like that kind of stuff with that genre. But then I ended up making it more monstrous, and I ended up kind of liking it. And I think that's one of a great challenge for an artist. Draw something you don't like. Think about why you don't like it. For me, I don't like my monsters when they're just like green humans, you know what I mean? I want them to feel monsters, give them claws and teeth and all that, and make them, less human, and I think that's fun. So kind of drawing them in my own way and kind of making them more monstrous made me like them more. I had a similar thing with like cyborgs. I didn't really like cyborgs in a lot of media, but then I kind of designed my own cyborgs to my liking. And that's cool, That's how you end up having some more unique stuff. But yeah, I still will not put elves or orcs. Now, there are things that I keep moving the line back a little bit. Like, I said there wasn't going to be orcs and goblins, and then I let them in. But I redesigned them in a way that I thought was cool. And then I said there was going to be, like, no wizards and stuff. But then I added them into the story. They're kind of gone, but it's not so much magic. Magic's not really a thing in my universe either. There is spiritual stuff, like there is a cosmic supernatural element, but it's not magic. And then the way I wrote the mages are kind of like they're very scholarly, they're all about studying the forbidden knowledge and stuff like that, which I ended up really liking to draw them, which was something I originally wasn't even going to have in the story. Ended up becoming such a really fun part to my series, as I kind of based them a little bit off of like pilgrims from medieval times and stuff like that, as well as just even my own readers, my own scholars trying to figure out the secrets of my stories and stuff like that, and just have them be these like scientists in that way. So some people might be like, oh, what's he doing? that his fantasy story sounds weird. I think that's a good thing, setting up myself to be different from other people, because I'm cut from a different cloth in terms of inspiration. I'm not another Tolkien clone or a D&D campaign turned comic. I'm writing something from something else. I'm not looking at, orcs and elves. I'm looking at medieval illuminated manuscripts and maps and stuff, things that people actually believed in at that time and things like that. Granted, there's lizard people because they're cool. And things that I think are cool that I'm adding. All right, let's keep reading the comments. Oh, I missed the spot. Let's ink that, but let's read the comments, because I know I was talking for a hot minute there. Do you know how to draw humans? You have to. You have to know how to draw humans. Even if you look at my lizard person here, you can tell there's elements of drawing humans that goes into it. Knowing how to draw biceps and forearms and, things like that. Here we have some loose skin owing to the fact that he's a lizard man. But I have drawn humans because, like I said, my other stuff are sci-fi war stories, superhero comics, and things like that. If you look at my page, you can probably see a whole bunch I've done for Dynamite Comics with my latest batch of sketch covers. And I will be doing another batch of sketch covers. Specifically, they are looking like they really like my work on G.I. Joe. So they're going to send me 2 G.I. Joe books that they said is going to be top priority, is those 2 G.I. Joe books. When you drawing Spawn again, when I get a chance, I definitely wanted to add a few more Spawn characters to my list, but I'm so busy with all the things between work, within the sketch covers, the sketch cards. Like, when they approve that, I'm gonna have to do 30 of each of these cards. I'm gonna have to do 10 sketch covers. I'm also juggling my own project, a new project I'm working on. I'm also trying to juggle the comics I already have running, and also whatever cards I'm doing for my patrons. So when it comes to drawing, it's oftentimes, when I get a chance, drawing things that are not on the queue, business drawings, like art drawings for that. So I love Spawn, but, Spawn is already established, and he's, making Todd McFarlane money. I need to work on the drawings and the characters that make Jake money. You know what I'm saying? But I love Spawn. I do have a playlist. If anyone doesn't know, I have a whole playlist of Spawn drawings. Have you seen oh, I missed the comic, but I will finish reading it. Have you seen the anime Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind? I love the way they draw cloaks and the Tolmekian armor in that way. I have not seen it. I don't know a lot of anime. But I like drawing capes and stuff like that. Robes and capes. I love drawing. Again, that's one of the things when I draw Spawn, I draw his cape like all flowy and everything. Human, half lizard, kind of a mixed thing. More so understanding the muscle structure, the anatomy of it all, Moon. So what I'm talking about is, without it just feeling like you have a peg hole and it's like, oh, that's an arm. The arm just moves. We have to understand there's a musculature that goes into the structure. So even if I had a lizard person with like slightly different proportions, there's certain things of the muscles that play it into the figure. If I'm gonna have the character raising their arm, the way the muscles kind of react to each other, and this part now is going up instead of kind of going down. it's going up. Thinking about the bicep and the forearms, kind of like a chain. A chain, if you have a chain link like this, you can now bring this part up. You can lift this part up. And so think about this chain shape when doing like the muscles of, a human arm. So you have your bicep and then your forearms. So you don't have to know the name to every muscle. It's not going to help you draw them any better. But understanding how they work, is, it'll make your drawing feel more believable to a degree. It makes it feel like it makes more sense. So now this looks like a guy raising his arm. Maybe getting a sword from his back or something. I kind of messed that up, but that's okay. Let me erase that. But understanding this musculature, if a lizard person is kind of like upright, maybe he's hunched over though. He's got like a hunchback, and then he's got his lizard head. These parts that were similar to the human anatomy, kind of play into it, of how that muscle is working as the character is raising his arm. I don't know if that made sense. The little crash course, little mini art TED talk there. In hell, and he's with Ghost Rider as an enemy or friend. I remember, I think in 2016, I drew Spawn fighting the Violator in hell. I had put a flame overlay over it too. Studio Ghibli. Okay, so I can already kind of, when you say Studio Ghibli, an idea of artistry already comes to mind. All hand-drawn art style. Yeah, a lot of respect for Studio Ghibli. I really want to watch Princess Mononoke. I have not seen it. I've heard great things. I've even done commissions. I've done a commission of her on the wolf, and I've never seen it. I need to watch that. Gotta hop on the lives more. Only if not interrupting anything too important. The real Spider-Man. I think I'll show you guys the other sketches. I think I skimped you out a little bit. The other proof of concepts for the medieval stuff. And then we'll head out this live as we now finished our little sketch here. I think it looks pretty cool. Let's bring them back. So I already showed this proof of concept. I wish I didn't draw this in a regular sketchbook for this amount of work. Wish I drew it on Bristol, but it's okay. Here's another one. Here is a knight on horseback. And so I'm really also just playing around with the vibes, not just the look, the vibe you get from it. I kind of really wanted to tap into this kind of serenity almost. And thank you, Art of Eldritch. I appreciate that. Especially because, I've been saying too, I'm more so a sci-fi war artist. And superheroes and stuff. I also draw a lot of monsters. Here's another one. Here are the Undead Knights. So I did these last year. These are probably exactly a year old. I showed that one. Now here's another one. Give us a feel of an action scene. So we got a knight having the misfortune of running into a wyvern, or rather a wyvern dropping down on him. Um, and I got two more. It just gets worse, right? It's like really high up, and then you got two more circling in the clouds, like sharks, cloud sharks. Yeah. Okay, so let me move this to the side. Oh, the wyvern one? The wyvern fighting the knight? I've been trying to post shorts on the creepy eldritch art I draw. I really need to learn to fill the page out like you do. It's awesome. Thank you so much, Eldritch. I normally don't do that. And that's why I was saying I regret doing that on those pages, because that's a sketchbook, you know. Sketchbook paper is not the best quality paper. I typically use sketchbook paper for concept art. You would want to use like Bristol if you're gonna go that crazy filling up the page. With the medieval series, it's kind of easy for me to fill up the page a little bit because I'm much more nature based with that versus what I typically do, which is more industrial, you know, big cities and military stuff like that. So it's a pain. One last thing, because it looks like we got newer people. Oh, please don't fall. I do a lot of monsters. Here are a stack of monsters I've done on the previous lives on YouTube. On TikTok. And just out my head, I just be drawing monsters. So I just be doing it with an ink pen, because I don't have to worry about making mistakes when I draw monsters. That one's a demon. When I draw demons, I draw them different from monsters. A very different headspace when it comes to demons and monsters for me. On my YouTube here, I also have some more, fleshed out ones that are not just little sketches. But they're fun. You probably like this one, talking about Eldritch, Lovecraftian things. Here's a possessed pumpkin. Now I feel like I gotta do more YouTube lives. But yeah, I jump between TikTok and YouTube, but let's see how good this one does. Last time we did really good on YouTube. So I'm hoping to capture a little bit of lightning again. Yes, I should on one of the next lives, because one of the next YouTube lives I gotta do a monster, because I've done tons of monsters on TikTok lives. I need to do some on YouTube. Now, this guy needs to make sure he brings his little brother with him. He can't go out without his little brother. And then a little red pen. Just a little red ink. Yes, you should do that as well. Just do like little sketches and stuff like that. A little red pen, you can, is all the color you really need for something like this, get the point across. I did this in 2022. That's when I started the lives on TikTok. I did one of these. I did this one with a dip pen. This one here. I could never do live. I draw too many failures. No. Well, you can always erase and keep working on it. When it comes to a monster, monsters are the best. If you mess up, it's supposed to look ugly. So you don't have to worry about it. If your pen slips or whatever, you mess up a line, just take his whole jaw off. Just rip that whole thing off. I want to draw more monsters, demons, and pen sketches. You should. No time like the present. And again, you know, look at this one. This one's like scribbly. I think this one's kind of cute. Okay. Did I read everyone's comment? I love horror stuff. I usually hate drawing something scary, and now I do like to draw it. Yeah, it's fun. I think it's kind of like facing your fears kind of thing, you know? I have a free to read series that delves into some horror stuff. And for anyone just popping in, you can read my comic series, my free to read comic series on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page or on TikTok in the Nadir Archives playlist. So I have some sci-fi stuff in that series, but there's also some elements that delve into some horror. I think everything I draw has a little drop of poison in it. A little bit of horror in everything I do. This one, someone said to use a brush to make a monster. This one's kind of cute too. Look at his little arms. Little baby arms. I usually draw scary stuff at night before bedtime. Setting the mood, right? Candlelit. These are cupcake mimics. They go to a little birthday party and then they eat you. You don't eat. Cupcake eat you. I get kicked out of the house too much, even though I'm pretty much a grown man, so I can just draw in class. There's a Batman monster. Batman monster demon thing. Yeah, at least you could draw in class. You know, find time. You know, there's certain things that, certain work I bring with me to different places. Like, you know, if I have to go to work, I'll bring smaller stuff. You know, obviously I can't bring, like, my huge boards and stuff. I like this one a lot. I like how his eyes are kind of just popping out his head. The holes, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I've been working on a world building project for a Pathfinder campaign. I'm going to run. I usually drop bits of lore in the shorts, but I've been debating actually making full content focus on it. And that sounds really cool. I think you can definitely try it. You know, you can see where it goes. It doesn't hurt to try it. And who knows, maybe that might be something that just blows up. You can't win if you don't play. It's like the lottery, right? With those last two, I wanted to kind of get a little more up close and personal with the monsters. Because these little ones are kind of like from a distance, you know, they're small little cards. But I was like, let's do like a close-up. My favorite scary monster drawing, it depends, because it's hard to pick from them. Like sometimes I like, oh, that was pretty clever. You know, this one's like a locking key. Like it's got keys for hands and chains and like a lock head. So I'm like, oh, it feels pretty clever. I kind of like that. But demons are also really fun to draw. The way I draw them, I often give them horns to really you know, distinguish themselves from my typical monsters. My monsters, they oftentimes are in agony of sorts or pain. They're victims of being monsters, victims of their nature, the insanity. But the demons that I draw, they know what they're doing. You know, they are aware of their wickedness. They want you to know that they're demons. You know, they say like, oh, the devil's gonna come dressed in a suit, not in the horns. with horns and stuff. Yeah, when they're trying to deceive you and all, but my demons, when I drawing them in their form like that, they want you to know, oh, you're fucked. I'm not no monster, some half-wit zombie. I'm gonna fuck you up, is the mentality that I kind of imbue when I draw a demon. They're not sympathetic creatures. They're not something that can turn good. They are black and white evil. They're rated R characters in my PG-13 series. If a demon ever shows up in any of my books, it's instantly now a rated R comic. They change everything. But I feel like I could be very creative with the monsters, like that one being like a camera. This guy, where my hug at? Here's another demon. Almost taunting. Actual incarnations of malice instead of victims that hurt because of their insanity. Yes. And so the demons, the monsters might just eat you for a couple of things, maybe they're hungry or whatever, but the demons, they'll eat you and they don't need to, they're just beings of evil incarnate, black and white. And so it's funny too, sometimes people, they look at it and they're like, how could that demon be so powerful? It looks like it's rotting, it looks weak, it's lanky. And I'll show them like Doom. Some people have said that in lives. And then at one point I showed my mother, I drew some of the demons from Doom and I showed her my demons, and she said that the ones from Doom look stronger, like the Baron of Hell, because they're just muscular and they look powerful. But like in my head, I'm like, my demons are not just here to be super villains. They're not here just to punch you. They are incredibly strong despite their lanky, gaunt, and decayed appearances, but they are the embodiment of death. They're all things, wicked and pestilent and death. And sometimes the demons don't have to even lift a finger to hurt you. The sight of one of my demons is enough for someone to kind of do the job for them and kind of take themselves out of the equation by just how the demons are. Especially because most of the stuff that I write are war stories and superhero comics and stuff. So when they show up, it's like, oh, it's not a horror comic, but when they show up, they hijack it. And they're like, yeah, this is a horror comic now. We're here. But again, that's if demons even appear in my comics. I like to keep people guessing. But if my demons that I create, the demons I create, the way I write demons, if they appear in one of my stories, everyone's fucked. It's not gonna be it's not one of those things where like they sympathize with the devil. So I think I'll just flip through the rest of these and then I'll be out of here. But again, you can see the monsters are different. The demons, they brandish their horns and they're like, they're showing them off. They're like, these are crowns as far as I'm concerned. While the monsters are here like kill me, like they're insane. And the demons are just having a blast. Now, another thing as far as my works go, they're not rulers of hell. I see a lot of things with hell, and they're like hell lords, hell kings, or, demon hell weapons and all this stuff, and they come from hell. In my series or my universe, my mythos of things that I create, hell is there's no way anyone can be in hell and not think of anything other than, oh my god, my skin's burning. Demons don't rule hell. Hell is just the final judgment. These demons, they are out there. They're in the spiritual realms, a different frequency of existence, and that's how I perceive demons in real life. So, you know, I feel like there's some sincerity, some truth. You know, me as a person who's a I believe demons are real, and I write them in a way that I feel is kind of realistic, although I do allow myself to have some creative liberties as far as being an artist goes, and without just writing something that is like, you know, you open my books, you buy my comics, and then you open it, you read it, and there's like reading the Necronomicon, and then your house is haunted. All monsters are cute. Like, oh, cute to me. Look, he's so happy to hear that. Would you give him a hug? He was like, you mean it? What about this one? This one looks like an iPad kid. You got games on your phone? Oh, another demon. Look at this one. I thought this one was pretty funny because I left the flesh on its hands, kind of like if it had gloves. You would hug him. What about this one? It was like, what do you got in your hand? A knife! No! Give him a little kissy. Okay. Do I look like a real boy, Papa? When I draw monsters, I try to make them all different from each other. I try to really play around with the form, and people are like, you don't run out of ideas drawing monsters? I don't, because the way I see it is like, I start with something, a piece of paper. In this case, a human being. And I take the form and I twist it and I crumple it and I pull it and I rip it and I break it, and I get something completely new out of it. And I try to think, how can I take something that's sacred, the human body? God was, man was made in God's image. How do I take something sacred and just twist it beyond, what its intent was? And, I'll pull things out like the spine, bring them out more. I peeled the skin off of this one so that it can have wings, because I took the skin off its head and I was like, it kind of looks like a buzzard. And then I peeled the skin off of its arms attached at the rib area, so that way it kind of has wings. And I'm like, all right, cool. We kind of made a buzzard out of this thing. And so, you take things, I take things, I duplicate, I add a whole bunch of eyes or a whole bunch of arms, or I take the legs and I put them backwards. And I, think about the anatomy. We were talking earlier about drawing the human body and stuff like that. You draw the human body, you can draw just about any kind of humanoid thing. I call this one the prawn. I kind of have like a see-through kind of carapace body here, and kind of have like, you can see like its spine. And, I really try to make it different in that way. We take its cheeks and pull it all the way back, have it drooling, give it too many teeth, give it, sometimes when people think of a monster, they think of like sharp teeth and stuff like that. That comes from the mindset of like a predator. That's our primal beware of being eaten. But when I draw monsters, I draw something of surrealism. I'm drawing something that, what if this thing got its hands on you? It doesn't have like clear teeth. There's that element of the unknown. What if you become one of them? Or what if something did this to them? What if that thing catches you? And then I also think you can really change up the shape. Like this one, like what if we just peeled the skin off the skull cap here and then just hammer a bunch of, nails into it, keeping it in place. And we got nice two right there, right in the eye sockets. And the fun thing about peeling back the layers is the human body is so beautiful. We have different systems and layers. And I say, some people are like, oh, that's gross. And I say it's beautiful because there's an artistry to showing the elements of the body we take for granted and don't think about. Your circulatory system, your organs, the way your large intestines wraps around your small intestines. You have like a mile of small intestines just coiled up in there, everything just fitting perfectly. And it's beautiful to me. It's like flipping the hood of a car open and looking at all the components, the engine, and all that, all the hudders. I see the human body in the same way. There's so much that you're like, wow, You know, you have that spine or that rib cage or whatever. A weapon with a monster? A monster with a weapon? Also, sometimes I think monsters are a good exercise to draw when you're just feeling not good, you know, just some of these I drew, I'm kind of being a little open, kind of drew at some of my lower moments, emotionally and mentally speaking, which you can tell the artwork and the line work is a lot different because I was not caring about making a figure. I was just trying to get the demons out of my head, you know, just trying to get them out there. But you know, when my other ones, they're a little more character designy. You know, they look cool. They play around with silhouette and form. There's a lot more artistry, while the other ones that I just showed were just raw. You know, whether it's sadness, anger, you know, confusion. Hello, Coconut. And shout out to Coconut VR86. And thank you. I'm glad you like them, by the way. I'm going to read the comments real quick. And thank you, The Real Spider-Man. The part I have a lot of uncanny and confusing, you can make it because... Oh, wait, I skipped your whole line, my bad. The part I have a lot of fun with... I did it again, because the art is here. I can't see the text. Fun with the eldritch horror and cosmic horror is how uncanny and confusing you can make it, because basically there's something like aliens, yes, but way worse, being interdimensional. Yes, yeah. They can be from a place where physics and the going of their own existence were completely differently. So what would it look like if they enter our world? Is that what I like to think about? Yeah, that's like the immaterium kind of stuff like that. That gets really like psychedelic if done right, you know. And also thinking about like, what are they? What are their minds? You know, that confusion. My monsters are a little more, you know, varied upon them. You're like, well, what does this thing want to do? Does it want to hurt me? It's just standing there. I have no idea. Where the demons are a little more clear. You know, they want to hurt you. They want to see you suffer. The monsters barely are aware of their own existence. I think I did this one with a brush tip pen. Alright, so that's all the monsters I have here. So I hope that was fun. I hope seeing that stuff, whether it was drawing, going over little art tips, or showing some of the things I've drawn, whether they were monster sketches or, you know, those full-on proof of concepts. I hope that was cool. That's Chucky's cousin. Let me take a sip of my drink. I'll read everyone's comments, and I think we'll start wrapping up. I do want to mention we do have a Discord channel, so you can get updates on my work, my projects, what I'm working on, material, products that I'm putting out, whether like comic books, because I do have published series. I have other projects that I can't wait to start and announce. You can also post your own artwork in the general art channel of our Discord. So I like to, you know, see like, or have a place that, you know, you guys can also post your own artwork. So, and people make friends on our Discord. I think it's so awesome. And we just have the coolest place, the coolest people on there, and a very supportive crew. You can share your artwork there. Fan art of my characters and my stories, you know, get posted on the Graveyard Comics Instagram and Facebook page. Yes, the Discord. There's a link to it on my TikTok. I don't know if you have TikTok. Minion, are you still around? I need to get that. And I see your you can ask your question, Coconut. I'll finish what I'm saying, and then hopefully you'll have it written by the time I address it. Minion, is it possible to put a Discord link in this chat here? I know it's a little different from YouTube. I can't put it myself. I mean TikTok. On TikTok I can put the link in the comments, but on YouTube I can't. Okay. So what was I saying? So our Discord is really cool. I'm really glad. And on our Discord, you'll know if I can go live, if I can't. Like yesterday, I said I was too tired. You know, some of these days I'm like, oh, I have to work on Saturday, or, you know, I can only go live on the weekend or whatever. Or I'm not home yet, you know, things like that. Or announcing projects and things like that. Yeah, so also check out the YouTube channel, the EXP Live. I called out of work on Monday because I'm going to be in the chat watching. So I'll be alongside you guys if you guys drop in. So it'll be funny because now I'll be in the comments too instead of the one live. The EXP Live, they're going to be featuring some of my sketch covers that I just did with Dynamite Comics. Yeah. I'm excited, but I'm also scared. I hope it's good. I think they like it. They'll announcing me as the new sketch artist there. Okay. So that's that. I'll read the comments. Let's keep reading. Okay, let's keep reading. Where'd I leave off in the comments? Okay, here we go. Okay. Pretty sad. I'm quite sad, actually. I'm sorry to hear that, Coconut. What's wrong? Why are you so sad? Do you know how to draw an angel? Not like the angel, the not so humanoid. It only has eyes and like wings and stuff. Moon, I think you're talking about a throne, probably. I hate when people say this. I hate when people are like, oh, I see why the angels say, be not afraid, because they look like this. And I'm like, no, no, they don't. Those are a different type of angel that stay in heaven. I think we're talking about the thrones, which are like the wheels with eyes, and God's not sending a throne to give a message. You know, the messenger kind of angels look different. Now, angels typically, from their descriptions, are just like tall, like really tall people, like 8 foot tall, and they're really beautiful, I hear. And then, of course, you have things like the seraphim, which have 6 wings, 2 that shield its face from the light of God, and 2 that shield its feet from the holy ground. And then 2 that are meant for representing flight. And then, of course, you have the cherubim, which are kind of weird looking. They have like different faces on its head, so they don't look like the little Cupid babies that you see in like Renaissance drawings and paintings. Those were inspired by Cupid, of all things, from Greek. I think it's Greek. But yeah, cherubim are not little cute babies. They're kind of the creepiest looking angel, in my opinion. Then you have the thrones, you have the powers. So there's a hierarchy of different types of angels. And so God's not sending like this crazy throne to send someone a message. An angel, typically in that kind of sense, are more like people looking. Although there are also, I think it's the powers, and then you also have the dominions that are constantly at war in the spiritual realm, holding back demons, you know. But that's a whole theological thing, you know. Someone could be like, no, that's not true, that's fiction, that's fake, God ain't real. And I would say, okay, I don't care. Say what you want. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to make you believe what I believe. I'm just telling you, you know, we want to get theological and, you know, go according to quote unquote biblically accurate, then let's be biblically accurate, you know. Let's not pick one thing from the Bible and run around with it, you know what I mean? That's how I feel. To answer your question, I can draw anything. I would first need a description of it, maybe from the Bible, describe it, and then I'll draw it. That doesn't seem too hard. To me, humanoid figures are definitely the more trickiest thing. when it comes to drawing a person, like its face. Um, but I feel like I've improved a lot in that regard. But when I was a kid, well, everyone was drawing superheroes in anime, so they all kind of have a basic form of the human body. I was drawing like dinosaurs and robots and stuff. So anything non-human was my specialty. But you can't really tell a story without humans, you know? So when I finally started getting the hang of drawing humans, I was like, oh, it's over. I could draw anything. um, but yeah, so I was always pretty good on that regard. So as a comic book artist, you kind of need to be able to draw anything, because a comic book is just a sequential, illustrated reflection of our world, you know? It doesn't matter how good you draw a superhero, if you can't draw anything else, your superhero is just floating in a background of pure empty abyss. You know, you gotta have buildings and cars and chairs and, you know, things like that, so your character can have a background. And you can't just be like, oh, I only know how to draw men, or I know how to draw only women, because your comic is probably gonna have people of both genders. You know, you can't just draw one of these things. You know what I mean? You have to branch out, you have to learn, and you have to apply what you're learning into your artwork. This man could draw anything. Kaylee beat me to it. Thank you. Thank you for getting to that before I get to it. Oh, Coconut, sad still. I do want to know why you're sad, Coconut. Maybe I could give you some advice. Just cute monster. Hello, Zach. I'm glad you think so. Those are my babies. Oh, Coconut's really sad. I wrote it a couple of times in the chat there. Now, one thing I should say about myself, you don't have to spam. I know I go on for a bit without reading the chat, but I always read everyone's comments. And, you know, sometimes it looks like I'm taking a while, but that's just because I feel like I don't want to just read your comment and then move on. I want to read the comment and give it the proper length it takes to address the comment of whatever, you know, someone said to me. So you don't have to spam it. Just be patient. I will get to everyone's comment. You're an awesome artist, dude. It's so cool that we have a similar thinking of that sort of stuff. I've subbed and I'm trying to hang out on the channel. I'd love to hear that, art of Eldritch Heart. I love to hear that when people say they're joining the Discord, because I think we meet a lot of cool people in the lives, and so, you know, maybe I don't do a live, or maybe they stop tuning into lives, and you know, I don't encounter these people again. I'm like, that was a cool person. I wonder if our paths will ever cross again. So I think that's so cool with the Discord. I get to know that people be lurking around or say hi or post their artwork. And so I think that's so cool. I don't know, maybe I sound sentimental or a little mushy, but I think it's so cool that, like, I get to take you guys home with me a little bit. You know what I mean? if I can put it in a weird way. But yes, I knew by your name, Art of Eldritch Heart, that you would like this kind of stuff, because I also really like that kind of, you know, eldritch kind of Lovecraftian element to it. Very sad. I have a quesito question. Quesito, I thought I broken out the Spanish. Okay, so well, as I work my way down, hopefully Coconut wrote the question in there, and hopefully it's still here. Is that character from the anime Doro? No, this is just a lizard person from one of my comic series. I have a medieval series that I'm going to be working on at some point, and this is what some of the lizard people look like. Okay. Weird core? No, but I can imagine what it is. Okay. Question. How do you draw so good? A lot of practice, a lot of time, you know, learning the fundamentals. There's things that you have to learn, you know, that if you just draw, you're going to keep making mistakes. There's certain things that you're not going to know what to address. For me, it was knowing just the proportion of where the mouth goes. The mouth goes halfway between your nose and your chin. You know, it's all about memorizing the proportions. Your eyes go halfway on the head. I knew that. Your nose goes halfway between your eyes and your chin. I didn't know that. Your mouth goes halfway between your nose and your chin. So everything is kind of structured. And so you have to just memorize where they go. You have to know the rules before you can break the rules. Don't ever say, oh, that's my style. That's just my style. Don't say it's your style if it's just a limitation. Don't hide behind style to prevent you from learning. You know, you want to learn. You want to keep working. It's okay to have a bad drawing. It's okay that you don't like your drawing. It's not the last drawing you're ever going to make. And you want to have that collection of improvement, show, okay, you drew Link and from Legend of Zelda and it looks like trash. Don't die on that hill defending it if you feel like there is things you can fix on. Draw it again and then compare how much you've improved. Now you have a physical thing to measure your growth. That it's okay to get defensive over your art, especially if you put all this time into it, you finished it, and someone's already picking at it. Oh, the head's too big. Oh, the arms are too small. You have to know how to be proud of yourself while also filtering out critique from criticism and applying it to the next drawing. So, there's those things, as far as practice, learn, and discipline. So to answer your question, how do you draw so good? I learn about the human body. I learned about the muscles. I learn about perspective. And then I practice. I apply. I keep drawing. I draw every day. I discipline myself that I draw more than I do anything else. I draw more than I do anything else in this world. I have receipts for yesterday. I have receipts for the day before. You can tell that I walked this earth based on how many drawings I put out. I'm constantly drawing. And I have proof of every day I lived. A day doesn't go by that I don't draw. It couldn't. I would get severe anxiety if I don't draw. People say, don't you ever get tired? Do you take a break? And I say, yeah, I do. And then I draw something else. So if I'm always drawing like sci-fi stuff and I'm taking a break, I'll draw a medieval thing or a robot, mecha, or someone else's character like Spawn or Spider-Man, So there's just so much drawing to do. So that's how I got good. And also, be kind to yourself. You're probably comparing yourself to me and other artists. I have been alive for a little longer than I'd like to admit. I've been drawing since, I was been floating around as a zygote. I left cave paintings in my mother's womb. I have drawings probably older than some of you. And, while you guys were decorating diapers with Dookie, I was decorating, like, the wall with drawings and stuff. So be kind to yourself. I've been at it for a long time. I have a lot of ugly drawings too, a lot of developmental drawings, you know what I mean? You got to think about it like a fetus. That fetus is going to take some time to develop into a baby. And when that baby comes out, it may look like a shriveled up raisin. It might not look all that cute, but give it time and it will look cute, and it'll be like, oh wow, that baby's the cutest thing ever. When you first see that baby, you're like, ugh. You gotta treat your artwork in that way. Your artwork is precious. That's your baby. Okay, let's keep reading. Okay, I read that. I read that again. We're spamming here. I don't have TikTok. I have Discord. Yes, I'm trying to put the Discord. I don't know if we ended up getting it in there. Because how do you draw elite like that? It's like a drawing. Can you tell me how you draw that good? Okay, so adding to this, I will say, if you feel like you don't draw good, I have good news for you. Drawing is not a talent thing. You start with talent, but it is not a talent thing. Talent will never get you a job. Talent will not make you a professional artist, and talent will not make you like an expert artist. Talent is just what you start with. And some people start with more than others. But the person who practices every day, learns every day, will surpass the person who just had raw talent. And so, if you feel like you really want to improve, if this is really what you love to do, all you have to do is sacrifice everything. But in all seriousness, you have to put the time, you have to discipline yourself. If you play video games all day or watch movies all day, you got to see, okay, I did more of that than drawing. Well, I'll play 2 hours. Yesterday, I played Heretic. I played 2 hours. For me, I only let myself play video games like once a week on Fridays for like 2 hours. And, if I'm watching a movie, I'm drawing while I'm watching that movie. There's no time to waste. I can be playing someone else's game, watching someone else's movie, all while my own series is sinking because no one knows I exist. These games, Halo, these movies, Avengers, if I don't watch it, they're not losing money. They'll be fine. But if I'm not working on my books, if I'm not working on my series, no one is. And we're just dead in the tracks. So I have to be able to, make the sacrifice of, oh, I can't watch that movie, or I can't play that game right now, or I can't hang out with my friends right now. I got work to do. I got things to do. It's all about priorities at that sense. Years and years of dedication. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Coconut. And thank you. I really appreciate that you love the channel. That means a lot to me. Speak your truth, preach. Yes, of course, Coconut. I will answer everyone's question. I would never ignore someone's question. Um, you know, I think that's one of the cool things. If I can delay our goodbye just while I address this, unless I have the chat just like zipping out and I can't see it, I can't in good conscience know that someone tried to say something to me and ignored it or decided not to address it. I know that you guys are humans on the other end of the phone. When I um, end the live, I do this, and I mean it. I'm serious. You guys are all an individual to me. It's not, oh, I got 7 followers today. I got 8 followers today. For every follower I get after every live, now this is where my religious side peeks out a little bit, but that's okay. I'm not fake with you guys. um, I thank God for every like. If I got 7 likes, I thank him 7 times in a row for every individual. So I acknowledge every single person that like follows me and all that. And I just am so grateful that you guys chose to follow me or watch my stuff or engage with my art. It means more to me than anything. And so your support is never just like something I gloss over, where I see myself better than anyone. I support your artwork as well. I give tips. I stick around my lives. You'll improve just by watching me draw and hearing my process, my decisions, how I do something, the way things work, or you might learn something you didn't hear. I often hear people say, I learned more from you in an hour than I have from my art teacher all year. I hear it all the time. And this is also why my goodbyes are so long, because I can't just be like, all right, bye everyone, poop, and end the live. I have to express how grateful I am, because, you guys could just stop watching. You guys just could have kept scrolling, looking for the next dopamine hit. In a world of attention spans being only 2 seconds long, someone stopped to watch me draw for an hour, for 2 hours. That you guys are the last of a dying breed. So I'm so grateful. I'm not gonna be here with my 8 viewers and I ignore someone commenting, right? Oh, I'm too big. I got 8 people watching. I'm a celebrity now. Me and my 7 people. I just lost one. Me and my 7 people. We don't. I'm too big. I'm Mr. Celebrity over here. So absolutely not. I read everyone's comment and I respect every single one of you. Okay, let's keep reading the comments. No, Coconut had to go. I don't know if Coconut got to see my goodbye. I said all that just to find out Coconut left. That's hilarious. Oh, well, this will go for the rest of you. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that Coconut was sad. I would have also said some other stuff about that. I don't know if Coconut's still here, but I'm gonna get through the comments. 7:30 in the morning, so Coconut had to go. For me, it's 2:47 a.m. I really want to post my art in the Discord. Yes, and I love to hear that. Is the Discord link in the YouTube channel description? I don't think it is. I really need to do that. All right, I gotta get up for church tomorrow, so I'm gonna go in a minute. Goodbye, Eldritch, if I didn't get to say bye. I didn't get to say bye to all these people. I'm so sad. The sad thing is, I have to go because it's 7:30 in the morning. England. Oh, I love hearing where people are from, too. Oh, I feel so bad. Lord Alcatraz. Hello. I gotta go to church, too. Okay. So, now I know people got my back if anyone didn't like that religious stuff. The head looks kind of two-dimensional. All right. Let's take a second to make it not three-dimensional, just a little bit. Here we go. Let's just put a little more definition, some shading. some feathering. I was about to leave, but I was like, nah. The head looks two-dimensional? Not on my watch. Alright. There we go. Lord Alcatraz probably not even here to watch me do it. Okay. I wonder how many comments there are. I gotta make my way back to the fresh comments. Art is therapy for you, I know. Art is therapy, you know. Yes, it is. I truly believe that. There's also, I've done a project on art therapy, and then I reused that project for another class I had. I took some psychology classes and stuff like that. So that's absolutely true. A fetus is a baby. Absolutely. All right. Okay. Read that. Okay. Thank you, Mud Asfar. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Okay. I feel bad that I didn't get to say bye to some of these people. Family problems at my place. I hope everything's okay, Moon. Last goodbye. Coconut, are you still here? Oh, I hope Coconut got to hear my whole goodbye then. Okay. Yes, okay. I felt so bad when I saw, because remember, I say I got to read everyone's comments and then work my way down. So I was like, no, Coconut left before they could hear my my response to my thing. So TikTok's a little different. TikTok, I have the mods like pin certain things. Like if someone's like, oh, I'm leaving, the mod will pin that so I can say goodbye. But YouTube's different. Yes, you could go now, Coconut. Now I don't feel so bad. So thank you for dropping by. Thank you for your attention and your time watching my video. And good night, or good day for you, actually. All right, guys. And Minion's still here, lurking. All right, it's time to go. Okay, and the real Spider-Man. Thank you so much, guys. I'll try to see where I can put the Discord link on YouTube. But yeah. I don't know where I could put that, though, because the description, I think, is where you said. I'll try to do that. I'll try to put it in the description then. I'll see if it lets me put the link. I'm not the most tech-savvy person. I'm old, but I'll try. All right, guys. Let's put our more proper goodbye music. Do I have it set? Yes, I do. But we'll probably get an ad first. Take a sip of my drink. All right, the description. I gotta put it in the description. I have all the other ones, like my Instagram. You know, I put all that. They have like options for like TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. I definitely have the link on my Instagram as well. Worst case scenario, I guess. All right. Not leaving until my battery's at 40%. I am leaving at this point now. So we're ending here, but I appreciate you sticking around this long, Moon. It was nice meeting all of you guys. You were all really cool. I genuinely mean that. Like, I love how chatty you had me, basically. You guys had me with lots of interesting things to say and talk about, and very supportive of my work. I really appreciate that. But also just fun to talk. Yes, I expected the Discord link. I gotta put that on here. Okay. Thank you, guys. So, as I always like to end by saying thank you for, watching my videos, watching my lives, reading my books, whether it's my free to read series, buying my books, joining the Patreon, or I have a free Patreon, and also there are paid tiers where I send you artwork, like snail mail type stuff, like cards. But yeah, yeah, it looks like it's not sending the link, Minion. Maybe, I wonder if you put the link without the @ I don't know. Or maybe without the www dot, so that way we trick YouTube into thinking it's not a link. But yeah, we'll see. I'll try to put the thing in the description too. Alrighty. So, what was I saying? Okay, yeah, so my gratitude, my thanks. Okay. Alrighty, I'm just reading the comments. So, thank you so much again. It means everything to me because I put my blood, sweat, would-be tears into this work. and you're drawing all day, all night, you know, writing, thinking about it all day, thinking about my stories. So the fact that people give a damn about it means more to me than words can portray. But now with that out of the way, I really like to end by turning the attention over to you guys, so that the last thing I say, my last words that ring in your head, are words of encouragement that you keep working on the things that you like to do and not give up on them. Your the things that you love to do, your interests, you know, they're valid, and you got to keep doing it. You know, make time for it, and it's justified as long as you're not hurting anyone. So, thank you, Mud, and hello, Mud Asfar, and thank you, who was that? Oh, Skibbity. Thank you. Glad you like it. I am ending the live, so thank you, everyone. Discord, GG, and all gibberish. Okay. Yeah, so I'll try to put the Discord link in the description. Alright, guys, so keep working on the things that you like to do. Don't give up on it. Make it because it doesn't exist. Do it because you love it. Enjoy the rest of your night, and good night, Spectres.